Everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that is really dear to my heart, whether it's better to read a physical book or through an ebook device like the Kindle. Now, I have to say that I've been waiting for the ebook reader like Kindle to be invented since I saw tricorders in Star Trek, so I'm a bit biased, I guess. But back when I first saw my first ebook reader, I think that was like, oh gosh, I can't remember what year it was. I think it could be 2008. I was skeptical because I wasn't sure how easy it would be for me to get any book. Because back in those days, not many retailers were into ebooks, and the very few that had ebooks, like fiction-wise, well, there weren't much of a selection, and then the things that you ordered, the formatting was off, etc. So when I saw my first ebook reader, it was a Sony reader, and I was in Beverly Hills at Borders, I think. It was a big gamble. I remember staring at that device. It was so pretty, but so expensive. And it took me an hour to decide to buy it. In the end, I did buy it, and I was so nervous because not only did I buy it in the United States, which meant that if I brought it back to Malaysia and it doesn't work, that's it. It also cost me a lot of money, like a few thousand ringgit. I'm not kidding. So the things you do for books, right? But it worked like a charm, and I love it. But I have to say, back in those days, there was only Fiction-wise or a couple of retailers that I probably can't even remember anymore, that had ebooks, and there wasn't much of a selection back then. All the big boys have not gone into the game yet. Then Amazon came along and introduced the Kindle, and the rest is history. But even then, most Malaysians couldn't buy Kindle because Amazon, in their wisdom, decided that Malaysia will be one of the few countries that do not have access to the Kindle. I don't know why. But anyway, when I was in Australia, I decided to go and buy a Kindle. I said, well, why not? It was only 99 Australian dollars, and decided to take the leap. And I have to say, the Kindle, above all, compared to the other devices, is a winner. Not only can you buy books with the click of a button, you have access to all kinds of, that was thunder. You have access to all kinds of books. I love books by indie writers, for one. They're so new and so refreshing, and it's not the thing about traditional published books is that they tend to follow the market. So a lot of the books that you read are like what's trendy now, while indie books, they tend to be out of the box and very bizarre sometimes, too bizarre. But I like it. I like the freshness of it all, and I like the instantaneous purchase, the access to a huge library at my fingertips. I'm old enough to remember the days where I had to wait weeks or even months for my books to arrive at my doorstep from the United States. And those days, books would cost a bomb. By the time the book gets to me, a copy could cost about 100 ringgit, and that's in addition to shipping fees. So that's about, $30, $40 per paperback. So not only was ebooks plentiful, it was cheaper, and some go to as low as 99 cents, which is really a boon for people with weak currencies. So yeah, I'm all sold for ebooks, But I have to say, when it comes to longer books or thicker books like this one, Peter Hamilton's Pandora's Star, look at how thick this thing is. I'd rather buy a physical book because I don't know, my fingers get tired, clicking the buttons, and it's really nice. I still love the feel of a book in my hands. I like, smelling them. I like taking my time reading the book. I like the tactile sensation of a book still. So this debate about, the print is going to go away, ebooks is going to conquer them all, is nah. People will just have more choices, Some will buy books on the ebook reader, and some will buy physical books. I don't think physical books will ever go away, but maybe it will probably be reserved for bigger titles, bigger authors, things like that. I like the fact that readers have more choices now. And as a person who believes in simplicity, I'm really grateful for my ebook reader because I do not really like to collect books. Yes, you heard me right. I don't really like to collect books. In fact, the moment I finish a book, I put it in a pile where I would donate or sell. So I try to keep my bookshelf to one. I used to have a huge library, and I mean huge. I had like almost 2,000 books, 1,000 to 2,000 books. And then I had to move to Australia, and it was a nightmare getting rid of most of the books, and most of the books were unread. So that taught me a lesson. I realized that I don't really like to put books up like trophies. I mean, they don't get read by anyone else. And I don't really reread my books. So I felt almost selfish for keeping them and displaying them. Like, I don't know, why am I displaying them? To show people that how well read I am. Yeah, so my philosophy these days is to not have too many books around. Though if you do go to my house, you wonder whether I live by that philosophy. It's true, I have a lot of books still. But not as many as I used to. I only had 300 books versus the 2,000 I used to have. So I think that's a major improvement. So if you're deciding to get an ebook reader, I would say go for it. Especially if you're a reader. Ever since I got a Kindle, I've been reading even more than before. And I'm also reading titles that I never thought I would read. And even an eclectic reader like me, having access to Amazon is really fantastic. Okay, for Malaysians who can't get Kindles, there are ways, and Malaysians are a resourceful lot. But there's still other ebook devices and other retailers like Kobo is pretty popular for international readers. I think Barnes and Noble is not accessible to us. Now, what is up with that? I mean, seriously, I'm so tired of the geographical restrictions that retailers and publishers put on us. I mean, I'm a member of NetGalley. I'm a professional reviewer in real life as well. And some books are only available to Americans or Europeans. And I feel like, how about us? You know, why are you ignoring us? Why are you putting these restrictions there? Never mind. But anyway, publishers are still playing by the old game. And it's pretty tiresome in this age of internet, when there are no longer any borders. And readers just want to get their books, you know. So publishers, remove that restriction. Let us order books from you and give you money for it. Seriously? And Amazon, introduce Kindle to us. Seriously. Oh my.